Women have been silenced for thousands of years, and yet this human desire for freedom belongs to everyone. What is freedom, and how do we reclaim our right to be free? Over the past year, we've collected 20 plus stories by women. These women showed up in front of the camera, ready to break the silence and to unleash their stories towards freedom.
I think it's incredibly important that we share, as women, that we share our stories with one another, because I think it's in our ability to hear and relate that we create a space for deeper connection, for deeper healing, and for that feeling that, no, we're not alone. Other people are going through similar things to us, or maybe there's a yearning inside of us that can be inspired by somebody else's story.
I have seen women in their light, and I've seen so many women either try to hide their light, or let's say you try to compliment someone and they're like, oh no, or they kind of feel uncomfortable shining and being who they are and being empowered, being authentic, giving women the freedom to be themselves, away from fear or shame or with none of that, just to be who you are and accept it. And the women who are in this book are leading with inspiration, and we want to be inspirations to all of the women in the world who can see us in our element and us in our light.
Freedom is like, we channel it, and it's an awareness, it's a resource, it's a power that we all have, but we just have to really step into ourselves and go that I'm able to channel freedom, I'm able to channel that mindset, that awareness, that capacity anytime I want. But am I willing to break all of the limitations, all of the stories, all of the need to be accepted, or am I willing to really step up and go, this is who I am, whether you like me or not? And there are a lot of times when we can't do that because we really want to belong, and that's just a natural human need. And so we have to get to a point where we have to go, you know what, well, these are my values. This is what I believe in. And so whether you like it or not, this is who I am. And I'm enough. And I think that just seeing a lot of the women step up to that, whether it's through their stories, whether it's through the interactions with their sisters or their girlfriends, and just like the community that we built together, it's been really humbling to really see that vulnerability in each one of us. And we're all very established, very successful women of our own, with our own practices, our own businesses and whatnot. But there's still moments when we're still 5 years old, we're still 10 years old, we're still really just vying for each other's love and affection. And then we start pulling back a little bit. We start kind of like, putting up these shows that's not truly us. And who are you? Do you truly feel free?
And what I have found through the past 5 years of having the opportunity to do various photo shoots is that they show me what's going on in the internal landscape, and it's been really beautiful to see my evolution over the past few years, because when I started out, I was really self-conscious and concerned with my appearance and so in my head. And over time, the more that I've done this work, the more that I have honored what confidence and freedom and expression and embodiment means to me, the more confident I felt in front of the camera. And what I've really found with projects like this, where it's a collaborative effort, it's you, it's the photographer, it's the team behind the scenes, it helps me actually give up a sense of control. Like, I can just surrender to being in the moment in my body, and whatever magic wants to happen can happen. And in that way, it really helps me lose any self-consciousness I might be feeling.
What made me want to be a part of the Freedom and Feminism project is that I literally just found my sexual freedom last year, and it's completely changed so many different parts of my life. And I think that it's definitely been a process. I was way more judgmental about it when I was younger, and part of that might be because of the whole sexual shame. I feel like this healing the shame has definitely loved my body even more.
So much of our sexuality as a collective humanity has been in the shadows, and there's been so much shame around it that we haven't been able to talk about it. So it's always either the perpetrator is shamed or the victim is feeling shame. and it's just not talked about. And then where does that shame come from? For me, it comes from organized religion. That's the highest place that I can see it comes from, because we're taught to disconnect from it. We're taught to disconnect from the holiness of it, the sacredness of it. It's only inside of marriage. It's only this way. It's only that way. So if there's such little allowance for this basic human primal expression, if there's such little allowance for it, then it's going to find expression. It's just going to find it in the shadow. And we are now faced with how much we have disowned this part of ourselves.
The Me Too movement, to me, feels like it was birthed out of this energy that is saying to us, and I know so many women who are hearing this, it's okay. It's okay to be you. It's okay to speak your truth. It's okay to be sensual, it's okay to be sexual, it's okay to be coarse, intelligent, funny, or whatever the other multitude of characteristics could be that make up any individual human being, right? And I think that anything that gives us permission to be more freely expressed is a step in the direction of liberation, of impact, of more people being able to stand in the truth of who they are.
The invitation to embodied sexuality in a way that can really feed our leadership and our creativity is really an invitation to own our power.
This project's about freedom and liberation, and to me as an artist, that's about just self-expression and being vulnerable. We who are visionaries are here to be in service at all times, to be an angel at all times, for ourselves to be in our own true power, and also for the men and women who see the book.
Freedom to me is still living in the mystery, still knowing that it's about the journey and discovering who I really am, and being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and discovering what part of myself is yet to be discovered.
If I could go back and deliver some wisdom to my younger self, stepping out into the world, would have been to come into relationship with your holiness. Know how sacred you are, and know that you don't need to compartmentalize or hide or be ashamed or be afraid, and that there's tremendous power in all that you are. And the power is in embracing all that you are and not trying to become one thing to please anyone.
How do we want to stand up in our own power and to really proclaim and call ourselves free women? It's always been with me. Having jumped on a boat when I was 18 months old, having a mother who was 21 years old, who consciously chose, that they'd rather risk death than to stay back in Vietnam and to wait to see what the government would have for us. So let's just jump on this boat consciously and know that as long as we're together, as long as we're aware that this is the choice that we're making, we're free, even if we die at sea. And I want to forevermore move on forward knowing that I'm making a conscious step, conscious choice of where I go. To me, that's freedom. Whether it's vulnerable, whether it's challenging, whether it's hard, whether it's heartbreaking, at least I know that I'm choosing.
We've been told that beauty only comes in a certain shape, a certain size, or looks in a certain way. But there is beauty in each person you come across. You are beautiful. And the more you can feel into it, the more you look for your own beauty, the more you accept yourself, the more you love yourself, the greater freedom you will create for yourself. And you are beautiful. You are perfect, stunning. And what makes you imperfect makes you even more beautiful. Just be you.
Into the wild I'll go, and into the wild I am. It's been a while, freedom child, since I left my roots back home. I once tried to run away like a wild animal's prey, running, hiding, I was riding higher in the sunset sky. Hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey, hey, ah, hey.